And we're live. What's up, Outlaw Nation? How is everybody tonight? Oh, let's see here. So let's let some people come in. This is my first official live stream. I've done a couple of jackwagon ones, but I thought tonight would be a good night to talk about 9/11, to talk about what was, the culture of people back then. I was 21 when it happened. Most everybody that I know is like, you know, like they have uh, very vivid memories of 9/11. But then I did a post today, but it was pretty cool. Like there are a lot of younger people out there that have never seen, like they weren't alive, like, and for the entire global war on terror, they just were like, hey, we don't even know what happened because we were kids. So yeah, a lot of you guys filling up in here. Hey, thanks for coming. So yeah, kind of tonight. Let's talk, guys. What's up, guys? Appreciate all you from being in here. You were in third grade, Brendan. Yeah, so you were six, Austin. So I was 21. And so yeah, let's just kind of kick it off, guys. So I was. I want you to try to set some context around where we were. So we had cell phones at the time, but we didn't have the internet on the cell phones. So what we had was just a regular flip phone. Mine was for Sprint. And hey, Alex, roll tide, buddy. I don't care that we lost. Roll tide. Anyway, so we had cell phones, but they weren't. A lot of people didn't have cell phones. We had one for work, and I was on Cannon Air Force Base, and we didn't have the internet. It was funny that we were talking that when 8 Mile came out, which was 2002, a friend of mine and I were arguing that I swear I thought Brittany Murphy was Mekhi Phifer. I thought that was her name. And Eminem was rapping about her, and he's like, "No, I'm pretty sure it's the dude." And I'm like, "No." Well, it took us like 3 or 4 months because like none of us had the internet to just go look that up. I mean, I know it's like a far like cry from what you guys see and understand now, but that really is how it was. So we had a cell phone, and so it was the first one hit, I believe, 8:47. So that was 6:47 in the morning for us. So we had just got to work. We were on the Air Force Base, and we had just started getting our gear out. And my mom called. Now back then we weren't able to like screen calls like we are now, and I'm pretty sure at that time we didn't even have text messaging. Maybe, but I don't think so. And if we did, I remember the first time we had text messaging, it was 10 cents a message. And so text messaging was like, we didn't really do it. And it was really slow. Like you had to push a button 2 or 3 times, and it took a while to text message. So back then when we wanted to talk to somebody, we called them. It's not like today. And so, like I said, not everybody had a cell phone. I remember back then my dad didn't have a cell phone because he was like, I'm going to wait till they get cheaper. And they were, for 500 minutes of talk time, $100. But so first plane hit at 8:46. Okay, so that was 6:46 my time. And so it was I remember my mom called me, and so I was 21. I had just turned 21. My birthday's August 31st, so I hadn't been 21 very long. And all of the guys were out, and we were all sitting around, and my mom calls and she's like, "Hey, son, a plane just hit the World Trade Center." And now, mind you, this internet stuff that we have now didn't exist. Like it wasn't the same. So I was like, "Mom, what's the World Trade Center? I don't even know. I've never even heard of it. We live in New Mexico. What's the World Trade Center?" And she was like, "It's like Wall Street where they do the trading." And I'm like, "No, I didn't know anything about it. But I mean, what do you mean a plane hit it? Was it a little plane or?" And she's like, "Well, it's like a big skyscraper. It's like, maybe 100 stories, and the plane it hit it. And I don't know anything else. It was a big plane though." And then at that time, that like the very next breath, she said, "Oh my gosh, another plane just hit the other tower." I didn't know that there were two towers. She said another plane just hit the other tower. And she said, we're under a terror attack, and dropped the phone. She was terrified. Well, because we were on an Air Force base, we didn't have a lot of information. So at that time, the cell network wasn't like it is now. I'm telling you guys, immediately, none of us could call out anymore. Everybody that was there that had cell phones was trying to call out. Nobody else could call out. So we all run down to the trucks and we're trying to listen. And so because we were on an Air Force base, they grounded all of the planes. Well, the base had primarily F-16s. We could hear some F-16s that were on the runway getting ready. And later I found out that there was a plane flying around the area that didn't have the communications. So they were almost going to chase him down, but they didn't. But we could hear them getting ready. And then it was not very long. All of a sudden, people are rolling around in armored, personnel carriers, the whole 9 yards, the Hummers, and they, everything is getting locked down. We're swarmed. We're locked down. And so nobody knew what we were going to do. So we were locked on the base for, I think, like 6 hours, where like everybody that wasn't active duty Air Force was, they were trying to find out why you were there. So we all got interviewed. And then as they cleared us, and at the time it was Colonel Remington, and he let everybody off. And then they were calling everybody else in. If you lived off base, you had to come on base. And it was a pretty scary time. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about was how different we were then versus how different we are now. So back then, to my knowledge, as a 21-year-old kid, we did not, a lot of events and a lot of news wasn't forced down our throat. So this was a big event for us. Like, we were truly scared. I often wonder if the same thing happened today, would we even care? Or would we? I was talking to my daughter about it. She's like, well, if it happened today, we'd get a bunch of mean tweets and a bunch of people making fun of people. And then we would probably just, like, 4 or 5 days later, just forget about it. And I really do think that's true. I think she's right. She's 20. And so I think that, like, we have been between movies and just things that have gone on in life and terror attacks, and it's just so normal to it that we don't care. And also, it's just really easy for us to dump back and get into our phone, right? It's just super easy to get back in there and just forget that the rest of the world, just forget the rest of the world exists. It's just super easy, especially with the new generation. And I think that's one of the things that has made it where we don't care about each other anymore. We don't love each other anymore. We're not as good to people as we were back then. You know what I mean? Back then, like, we always stopped. We held the door open for people. We waved at everybody. Like, it was just, people were just a better group of people. And I've been thinking about this live stream all day, and I thought to myself, I was talking it over with several people, and I was like, I think the one thing that we could literally say has ruined society is the internet on our phone. Like, I just think it is. I think it's the internet on our phone. Now, mind you guys, I know that some of you guys are going to say, hey, conspiracy theories surround 9/11. I totally get that. I don't want to talk about that today. Back then, that never even was a thing for us. Like, we never even considered that. If you go back and you look at George Bush's face whenever he was reading to those kindergartners, like, you could see in his face, like, oh my gosh, right? Now, I also don't want to go into Bush's presidency, right? Like, maybe we will a little bit later, but he was like we believed in Bush, dude. Like, we believed in him. But also, like, we did not hate the Democrats. The Democrats did not hate us. Like, we weren't divided, and the country came together like nothing you've ever seen. Like, everybody was in church right after that, because, that's where Americans go when we're scared. Everybody was in church. The churches were packed. Everybody was scared. Nobody knew what was going to happen. And so Yeah, I just literally go back and the only thing I can pin it on is that the internet on our phones literally stripped us of all kind of morals, but also kind of just caring about your neighbor, to where our life is just right here. And it's not looking up and seeing the world. It's not trying to be good to people anymore. So that's kind of my take on it. So guys, so tell me, let's look at the comments. Tell me, what were you guys doing? What are you guys even old enough to remember? Do you, like, everybody that I know that's probably 16 and up has a very, very vivid memory of it. And, now, like I tell my kids, I've got 3 kids, and they understand about 9/11, but they don't know anything about, like, they don't know the fear that we had. I remember Alan Jackson's song, "Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning?" I don't think Fox News existed back then, or if it did, it wasn't a big deal. He was like, "I watch CNN, but I can't tell you the difference in Iraq and Iran." That stuff was like, we were really, really different people back then. It's sad that you guys now that, were born 2000 on, you guys don't get to know how incredible we came together as Americans. Like, we were not fighting amongst ourselves. Like, we came together and they were like, "You know what? You did this to us. We're crushing you." A unanimous crush. So yeah, tell me what you guys did. 6th grade, 3rd period, world geography. So you remember it really good? She was mean as fuck. Yeah, that's awesome. I was on my way to work. It came over the radio that morning. Fox News was a thing. Okay. I don't remember Fox News back then because, like I said, it wasn't for me, again, I was 21. I was a kid, right? Like, I just turned 21. Back then, I was way more into partying and having a good time. And, that I wasn't like a 40-year-old doing this stuff. You know what I mean? That wasn't a thing that I did. So the news wasn't a big deal to us like it's a big deal now. And like I said, I just, man, I wish I could convey. Alex, you were 18, so you weren't alive yet. I wish I could convey to you guys what you missed out on. A slower world. Yes, we didn't have all the information at our hands, but I think we were a much kinder place. We were more innocent. I tell you, this is one. Alex, you're 18, so do you know the movie Scream? The movie Scream came out when I was in high school. You kids now laugh about it like it's not even a scary movie. Dude, to us, my senior year in high school or junior year in high school, it was the scariest freaking movie that ever existed. Like, it scared the shit out of us. Like, not just me, it scared everybody in high school. Like, it was a deal. I mean, it scared the shit out of us. And now it's just, you guys have seen so much other stuff that's just like a funny movie to you guys. And I'm still afraid to watch it. But yeah, I will tell you this is how scared we were of it. So I should have got the senior prank of the year award. So I was dating a girl, and my buddy was dating a girl who was my cousin. And we took them out to County Road 22, and we were driving them out, and we said, "Hey, girls, we've got this it was a thing for us to go to these old houses and just like look through them and be like, oh, that's a haunted house. There's ghosts in there," or whatever. And so I had some 357 Magnum blank shells when I was a kid that a friend of mine that was in the U.S. Customs gave me. So we set it up, and we stopped, and we got the headlights of the truck just at the corner of this barn. And we told the girls, "Hey, we got to get out and go get this bike. Y'all stay inside of here." And so we stopped. Me and my buddy get out of the car, and we walk up, and they see a bunch of gunshots and hear a bunch of gunshots. Well, then they see the dude in the Scream mask with a huge knife stab me, and then get up, and there's ketchup all over the knife. And he walks up to the deal, walks right up to the truck. They've locked themselves in the truck, and he grabs the knife and does the blood thing, slams his hand on the deal. Then we all came over there. We were laughing just so hard. The girls were in the back of the car, like hyperventilating. But that's how scared we were of Scream. So Americans, were just freaking way more innocent 22 years ago than we are right now. I think video games, movies, and all of this is just it. You're not used to me talking normally. Sorry. Court, you're a police officer in North Carolina and ran emergency traffic blue lights. Back to PD, turn in the car. Yeah. That's cool. I did watch the guys that were the F-16 pilots. I think there were two of them that didn't have any. The jets weren't armed, and I think it was a male and a female, and they were like, "Look, we're running into this plane when we see it. We are absolutely running into it." Like they were. To me, that's an act of heroism, right? Like they had made up their mind that they were dying that day, and they were flying there expecting to die. Like I still think that's pretty cool. It sounds terrifying to witness even today. It was cool, man. It was the best prank ever. Yeah, listen, the LGBTQ whatever TV, whatever that is, that wasn't a thing, guys. Like we just didn't talk about that. Like we knew guys are guys, girls are girls. We had a real hard generation of winning. So, like I said, like 22 years later, I look back on George Bush, and I look back, and I've got to meet people that know him and knew his father, and I've got to look back and say, dude, Iraq and Afghanistan, like, whoa, what did we do here? But at the time, he was like he did the Yankee Stadium pitch, and it was freaking amazing that he did this like all of Yankee Stadium went crazy, and Bush was like, I don't care if there's going to be a terrorist that shoots me, I'm going out there anyway. And he got the country moving, and we really, really wanted to win then. And I remember like we were like 100% like, we're going to win. We're going to, like Toby Keith's song came out, we're going to put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Like that's how we all felt. Like we were pumped. We were ready to go. We were ready to crush skulls. Like, and then everybody around America was like, whatever we can do, we're going to do it. We're going to support the troops. We're going to support people. We are going to be amazing. And then if you guys ever get a chance, you should read Barack Obama's book, Dreams of My Father, where he wrote his goal was to neuter America. It was crazy how we went from 8 years, regardless of what you think about Bush, I'm just talking American people, 8 years of we're number one. We are going to crush you for what you did to us. And then we went through a recession, and then we got Obama, and let's not get into like deep politics of this. We got Obama. He said he was going to neuter us, and we went to like this participation trophy, and like we don't care if we win anymore, and like everything should be kind of fair, and like he really did crush us. Like we have a generation, that 8-year gap where kids grew up and they're like they don't have that drive to win and be number one anymore. It's kind of sad, actually. Let's see. What do we got here? You guys love talking about guns, don't you? What's up, Tyler, buddy? How are you, man? We're talking about 9/11 and what happened that day and what you remember that day, and moreover, what the culture of people were. So there's a lot of young guys in here, young men in here that I think have the potential to be future leaders. I've posted a deal today, and one of the guys, I cannot remember his name, he said, hey, I don't agree with everything that happened. Of course, we don't now either. Like you're seeing some of the most hardened combat people ever come back, and they're like, we don't agree with what happened. But we didn't know any better, right? Like we did not have all of the news that we have now to tell us what we were doing. We didn't know that Iraq was the Dubai or Baghdad was the Dubai back then, right? Like we didn't know any of that stuff. Like, before that happened, the Iraqi dinar was $3.81 of our money. Like they were that much growing than us. And I just was in Baghdad, spent a lot of time in Baghdad. I was actually there the 20-year anniversary of us invading, and you can see traces of wealth all throughout Baghdad, marble floors everywhere, granite floors. It's like incredible. 9/11 was a national tragedy. It really was. Um, you're living in California, bro. If you're living in California, I don't know why you're living in California, but you should, move. I don't know. Be completely honest with you. I've spent some time in California. What I've seen is a lot of rural California is really conservative, where it's just the cities that aren't. Um, but yeah, I think it just goes back to we just don't care about people anymore. And I think that's mostly because the access to the internet on our phone. And we don't even care about seeing life anymore. We just want to see it through the phone. Um, I tell my kids, Sean, what's up, buddy? I tell my kids now, I'm like, look, and I catch myself doing it. Like, you're filming something really cool. And then I'm like, stop and look with your own eyes. I know you want to remember it later, but stop and look with your own eyes because it's way better. That's right. No such thing as blue states, just blue cities. I'm 100% on board with that. You live in a pretty conservative town, yeah. So guys, tell me what else were you guys doing? Or some of you guys were too young. What do you think about it? 9/11 was an inside job. I respect our troops. Look, there are there are a lot of things to go in that. I don't want to open that can of worms because I want to do this more of a hey man, we lost over the last 22 years a lot of incredible Americans. Like when you look back and if you could just take yourself out of current life and current politics and just think and don't hate the opposite party and don't hate New York City and just say to yourself, wow, those were innocent people, innocent Americans. And it was so hot burning inside that the only thing that they could do is jump. Like so many people lost their lives there. And then one of the things that we don't even really, one of the things we don't even really realize is I have a really good friend who retired from NYPD. And I'm going to try to get him on a podcast. He had an incredible career. Like back then, to get onto NYPD that had about 40,000 officers, to get on any police department was really, really hard. So the public loved police officers. Like when a cop walked in the room, they were just as welcomed as a firefighter. I promise. Like in general, they were like people liked the police. Now I know that the times have turned and we just hate them now. And I think part of that is the cell phone generation. I'll get into that in a second, but he was trying to do cleanup afterwards. And so one of the things that happened was as those towers crumbled, all of that glass and insulation turned into air. So when you are turned into dust. So when you see all of that dust go out everywhere, people were breathing that in. Well, my buddy Tim, literally, I don't want to get it exactly right, but I'm going to say, because I want to say all the people, but I'm going to say the vast majority of people that did cleanup there, he was trying to do it and the police department wouldn't allow him to do it, but he was trying to get extra money and do it. All of the people that he knew that did it are now dead because they got that stuff in their lungs and they died. So the impact of 9/11 killing just New Yorkers was way more than what you saw because everybody that did the cleanup, not everybody, but a majority of people that did the cleanup actually are paying the price for it now or died from it, right? So, and then we lost an amazing amount of Americans that served the country, regardless if you support it or not. So tonight's about them. Like, was there a conspiracy involved? Maybe. Like, man, you can make a freaking good argument for it, but we don't know both sides. We don't know all of the story. They're never going to tell us all of the story because if they did, I don't know what we would do about it now. Like the Kennedy thing, like they just did a deal where they said that one of the Secret Service guys came up and was like, yeah, maybe Oswald didn't shoot him. Or maybe it didn't happen like you thought it did. And like, what are we going to do about it 60 years later? Nothing. So I don't know. Yeah. So, Sean, is it your birthday? Happy birthday, bro. One of the things I wanted to tell you, I think one of the problems that we have in America, especially with the cell phone, is it's also we need to be millionaire hype where we're like, dude, we have to be a millionaire or we're not successful. Man, that's so wrong. Like I was literally thinking about this the other day, some of the most impactful people in my life. And if you think about it today, some of the most impactful people in your life were probably your football coach or one of your teachers in high school. I don't know if teachers in high school still are now, like some of them are crazy, but some of the most impactful people were like football coaches and baseball coaches. I really looked up to those men. And when they pass away now, I go to their funeral. But when Bill Gates passes away, are you going to his funeral? Like, did he, you know what I mean? Like, but you're going to go to old Coach Robinson's funeral, right? Because he impacted your life. So I think the thing that we've lied to everybody about is saying that we have to be a multimillionaire or you failed. And so what we've done is we've created a very generation that kind of gave up and they're like, no, I don't think I could be a millionaire, so I'm in my phone. And then, so like talking about police specifically, I was told there are two kinds of police. One that was picked on all of his life and now he got a badge and now he can, use a little authority. And then another type of cop was the one that was almost a criminal himself, but now he thinks he can make a difference. Well, what you've done is society has kicked out this one that almost was a criminal themselves and put the other ones in, and they don't really want this job. Talking about how everybody's a gun guy here and everybody's talking about guns. I was literally talking with dang, Tyler, what the heck is your name on here? The rifleman. What the heck is your name on here? I can't remember now. Practical Rifleman. So we've been friends for a long time, and Sean and I have been friends. Sean's been here since the beginning with me, and we were talking like, can you even trust a new gun coming out right now? Because the people who are building it, like, they don't want to do it. The cops, they don't want to do it. The people who are building barrels, they don't want to do it anymore. I'm almost wondering if like the best gun you can get is one from maybe 2015 when people kind of cared about their job, maybe 2010. I don't know. Like, that is something that I literally did worry about. Definitely not from Springfield. Look, dude, since 99, when I got my first Springfield sucked. I will tell you what they did right though. That Waypoint 2020 rifle, they figured that thing out. They got BSF barrels. My buddy owns that BSF barrels, and I've been shooting them for a while, and they're freaking awesome rifles. But when it comes to a pistol, man, Springfield Armory's pistols break more than any pistols that I know of. Yeah, but I'm worried now. Do people care enough to do a good job about anything anymore? And hey, if you guys are one of those people, like especially you youngsters that are about to lead this world, man, like if you will just start caring, like you will fucking crush everybody. No shit. Like you will crush everybody. You will jump over everybody. And just remember, you can have a great, fulfilling life. You don't have to be a millionaire. Rock Island Armory pistols worth it or not? Dude, I honestly don't know. I'm not the guy to ask about that. Does somebody in the comments know? I honestly don't know. I could not answer that for you. When I was coming up, Rock Island was a pistol that we all stayed away from. I don't know if they've done better since then. My dad was 25, turned 26 a day later. Yeah. Man, I got a lot of youngsters here. That's pretty awesome. BCM has a great warranty. So I like BCM rifles. I heard they had some problems, but to be honest with you, the companies that brag like Vortex about their warranty are the companies that I'm the most scared of. Rock Island is trash. Okay. Yeah. Rock Island, when I was doing it, was trash. Yeah. Let's talk about, I have a 10 millimeter. Yeah. Okay. So I've never owned one. I have this thing like, okay, if you have to get in a gunfight, okay, you are getting in a gunfight now. So stop thinking about everything else and think, I have to get in a gunfight. The outcome of that gunfight dictates the rest of your life. If you lose that gunfight, you're done. Your house doesn't matter. Your wife, your kids, your job, your money, whatever it is you have no longer matters at that time. So therefore, if I'm going to pick a fighting gun, I want a fighting gun that is one, a dummy gun. I remember when I very, very first very, very first got into carrying a gun for a living, one of my dad's friends said, "You're getting a Glock," and I was like, "I'm not getting a Glock. I want a Beretta," because Beretta was the coolest gun there was, like lethal weapon. Like I wanted a Beretta, and he's like, "You're getting a Glock." I'm like, "I don't want a Glock." He's like, "Look, man, if you get in a gunfight, it's a dummy gun. You just pull the gun out. It has enough bullets in it. There's no levers or things. You just pull it out and you start shooting until you kill that son of a bitch. Because in a gunfight, you're a dummy and you need a dummy gun." So that's where I stuck with it. And so, do you have to have a Glock? No, absolutely not. Like, I don't know that I like the SIG 320. I don't know that I trust them anymore. Like, I don't keep them loaded. But I'm a gun guy, so I have shot a lot of guns, right? Like, you name them, I've shot them, unless they're just like Llama, Rock Island, like complete knockoffs. I don't shoot them. But I want a gun that I know is going to work no matter what, because nothing else matters beyond that gunfight. So you have to win, and that gun has to work. And I remember having a Kimber Warrior. And so back when I was doing training, it was completely different than how we do training now. Like, we have liberalized gun safety, like unbelievably. We have made gun safety to where it like almost scares the shit out of people. And you're like, "Oh, do I do anything? Like, what is safe with this gun and what isn't safe with this gun?" Like, that's what we've done to it. But back then, that wasn't how it was. So what we would do is we'd all line up. And then the sergeant and the lieutenant would come. We would check each other's guns. And then we would search each other. And then the sergeant and the lieutenant would check everybody's guns. And we just used our regular guns. Well, what I found out in a lot of instances where like we would have actual scenarios, like very well acted out. We would get families to come in, people from the community to come in and do these like action like deals for us. And dude, I was missing the safety whenever I was drawing on people. And I was like, done. I'm done with the 1911. I love it. I shoot it really good at the range. But when it came down to it, I wasn't getting the safety. And I was practicing with that safety till my freaking thumb bled, man. Now, do I think, some of the newer holsters would make that go away? Like back then we had the level 3. So like we had to, level 3 was push with this middle finger, push with this thumb, rock the thing down, pull it out, take the safety off. They're completely different now, but this is my experience. And so what I did, you know what I mean? Ooh, got a SIG 228. Look, dude, so in 94, I don't know when it was, City Prepper, but somewhere around there was a Guns and Ammo that had the SIG 228 on it, and it was on the cover. And I was like, one day I'm going to own that gun. And I bought it last year. So I got a SIG 228 Germany, and dude, I still love it. I actually gave my daughter kind of confiscated it from me. Great gun though. Yeah, that Kimber Warrior I had didn't have any problems. Like I remember, so when Kimber very first came out, a lot of us were getting them, and they were like $900 pistols, and it was known that you had to shoot 500 rounds through them, but they worked pretty good after that. Now, after that, like that was when LAPD got them, and we had the big funky flashlights up front. I wasn't LAPD, but that was when the big funky flashlights were there. That was it, right? Like that was the gun, but they have really just like fallen off. I don't know. Have they picked back up? Has Kimber's ever picked back up? I don't know. I used to forget oh yeah. So it's the HK USP. We had HK USPs for a while. And I would forget to decock them too. If you have a Liberty Safe, so here's one of the things about Liberty Safe, guys. I know we're kind of getting off topic, but it's cool. Like we're just hanging out. Liberty Safe, they OEM for a lot of companies. Winchester for sure. I kind of think Browning. So make sure you check the actual maker of your safe and don't just be like, hey, I'm grabbing a Canon or a Browning or something like that, because I know they OEM. They're the biggest safe company. aren't Kimbers extremely pricey? I don't know. They were like $900 or $1,000, which in 99 was a lot of freaking money. Like when I bought my first Glock 22, I paid $345 for it. It was a Gen 2. And then the magazines, because there was a ban on the magazines, we had to buy law enforcement only magazines. Well, my dumbass didn't know that I could just go to the department and get magazines. So we paid $100 a piece for those magazines. It was like you save up for a month, you buy a magazine. Save up for a month, you buy a magazine. $100 back then was like $100 now is like nothing, but back then it was a lot of money. Nothing but Liberty Safes for 20 years. Yeah, look, I've always been a Liberty Safe fan. I heard that they sold out. They've donated almost $400,000 to liberal causes. Yeah. How is the FN 509? Look, I like the FN 509. FN makes a good pistol. FN makes a good gun no matter what they do. I know the SEALs say that they hated the SCAR, but the truth is the SCAR is a good gun. The SCAR is just not like, yeah, it had like overall, it was just an overall, like, we don't like it with not a great massive reason of why. We have 2 Browning safes. Yeah. I don't know if Browning is, I think that they are OEM'd by them. Browning is a very big, I have a buddy that OEMs for Browning. So like if you have a Browning t-shirt, anything Browning that's like clothing, they make it, they brand it, they sell it, they get approval from Browning, and then they sell it and they give them a royalty for it. So Browning doesn't do a lot of that stuff. Like, yeah. Your parents gave you your own safe? Oh, no. I've had to buy everything that I had. I want a SCAR mini, but they're very pricey. Yeah, SCARs are expensive. If you're a collector, I think it's a good thing. Like if you're a collector and you just want it, as Nut and Fancy would say, second kind of cool, that's cool. Ghost, how old are you, bro? Why won't your parents give you the key? That's crazy. So what else, guys? Hey, let's talk about New Mexico. Check this out. New Mexico. So, you know what, Tyler? I have a safe, but I don't go, oh, you're 13. I totally understand. But when you get about 15, 16, you can be responsible. You can be a responsible young man, understand gun safety, been to a couple of safety classes. And so you good to have the safe code, right? You might, 14, 15, you might have to defend your family. You should know how to do it. My girl, I have 3 girls, all of them could shoot by then. New Mexico. Let's talk about New Mexico. So, I'm from New Mexico. I have a lot of friends that are politicians in New Mexico. And one of the unique things until this latest governor in New Mexico, one of the very unique things about them was they were mostly moderate Democrat. I don't think you'd have anybody disagree with me. They were mostly moderate Democrats. So you could sit down with them and have a very educated conversation. You could argue your point, and they would actually compromise with you. I would say they were a lot like Democrats 22 years ago, where you could sit down and you can say, hey, guys, I don't really like what you're doing. This doesn't make sense. Let's actually compromise, where like now, like if you're right or left, everybody just hates each other. Well, New Mexico was full of a bunch of older, moderate Democrats who liked guns. New Mexico is a very big state that has a lot of open land, and they're all hunters. Like, they're all hunters. And so they were like, no, you're not taking our guns. Even the Democrats, like, nah, there's nothing you can do about the guns. And so Michelle came in, and when she realized that, so when she first came in, what she did was she fired everybody that she was legally allowed to fire from New Mexico Game and Fish. And then she did a whole campaign to get the land commissioner, Pat Lyons, out of office, and so she could put in who she wanted. And then she used the Game and Fish and the land commissioner to stop the oil from drilling on public lands in New Mexico. And she shut down the natural gas and everything over. It's like a horny toad or something, like something stupid, like some stupid animal, like that doesn't matter, that she just is like, they're there. And I'm like, dude, I have been all over New Mexico my entire life. I've never seen this stupid little horny toad frog thing that you're talking about. Like, whatever. But okay, cool. And so then she came in and she said, okay, she started to pass a gun control law. And then those moderate Democrats said, no, we're not having it. So then she said, cool, for the rest of my time in my office, I'm going to do every single thing that I can to get you guys out of office. And we're going to rally around so that we can put actually progressives and not moderate Democrats in. And that's what she's done. And that's what she's continuing to do. And so I have a lot of people that have said that she's just crazy, and she's been crazy since the beginning. Like, not just when she got into governor, but years before, I've heard of several people that got in multiple arguments with her and her family over like dumb shit, right? Well, so her coming on and doing an executive order to ban guns inside of a city. I read that whole thing, and as I read that whole thing, I would have said like it was aimed at Albuquerque, but it would hit like Clovis and Roswell and Las Cruces because they have the amount of crime that was listed in there. And so I'm sitting back here wondering, is this a ploy for her to try to say, I want to run for president, or I want to probably not run for president, but probably try to be vice president and make a lot of noise around me? But the problem really is this is tyrannical. Like, this is 100% against the Constitution. Like, you cannot make that executive order and ban guns. You can't do it. Like, that is 100% against the Constitution, and she should 100% be impeached. And they're trying to impeach her now. They've already started up the articles of impeachment. They're trying to impeach her now. I personally believe it's the federal government's job right now to come in and say, nope, you're done. And like, we ain't having this, right? That's what I personally believe, because that is the most tyrannical thing that has happened since I've been alive. Like, that is 100% tyrannical. Can we go back to gun talk? Yeah, sure. What do you want to talk about with guns? What do y'all want to talk about with guns? I got a new video coming out. What I'm trying to do when you guys watch my long form videos, so my shorts, I'm just trying to show you that guns are fun, man. Like, guns are fun. Like, you can be safe with guns and still be a little crazy with guns and have a lot of fun. My longs are trying to show you some sort of tactic and try to be funny and try to grab people and then give you a review of the gun is what I'm trying to do right now. No, I didn't. So when I did the short where you guys think I almost shot my hand off, I really didn't. I didn't have a grip on it, but in my mind, I was just going to hold it and shoot it with one hand. And then I was like, just grab it. So yeah, you only watch my shorts, Ghost. You need to watch my longs, bro. Watch those the new ones that we just did. What do you recommend for a combat knife? Okay, don't go to combat. I would recommend one of the Practical Rifleman's knives. Are you still building them, bro? It's my favorite knife ever. I've got like 6 of them. But if you can't get one of those, the owner of Half Face Blades, Andy Arbito, is a good friend of mine. I love him. He's top notch, former Navy SEAL. He got Half Face because he freaking painted half of his face in combat. And so like that last video I did, that's a picture of Beto in his underwear with Half Face painted on a horse in combat. But yeah, that crow is a really good one. NSW Recce clone. So Sean, I'm trying to do that right now. I'm trying to get one built right now. I got all the stuff from Mark 12. Dude, the rails are $1,400. It's crazy. The Practical Rifleman doesn't have the shop open. That's where I would go. Where's Brittany? Dude, Brittany just did a skit with us. She's my buddy's girlfriend. She's cool. I did not expect the comments from that. I guess I had them coming, but she's cool. I like her a lot. She's fun. But yeah, we 100% just friends. She lives in LA. She was just out here for some video stuff. No, she's just a friend. She's not my wife. Literally nothing but friends. Nothing but friends. Max, what's up, bro? Yeah, the practical rifle. The Mark 12 rail is what's on the Seal Recce rifle. The only difference is the Seal Recce rifle is a 16-inch barrel instead of an 18-inch barrel. So when you see the pictures of Matt Axelson and you think that's the Mark 12, it was a Seal Recce rifle. But back then they had multiple rifles, right? Like that's what you guys, whenever you get, so today, whenever you're going to get deployed, right, whatever you are, ODA, it doesn't matter. You're going to get deployed with one lower, two uppers. And so right now, most of the stuff the guys I'm working with are using the new Geisley URG rail and maybe a Night Force or an Elcan. And then they still got a regular Mark 18 with the Daniel Defense, and I'm sure they'll get, but they go back and forth. The the 10-inch is usually for night, and then the 14-inch, 14 and a half inches for day. But yeah, I'm 100% sure we're not swinger friends at all, dude. Not even kind of. Anyway, so that's kind of what you'd have. Demnek, the Command, is a decent amount of Noveske Recce recon barrels back in the, so they have them now. The Command right now is shooting the Noveske 11 and a half. It's got a smaller gas tube. It's pretty cool. DJ, what's up, brother? What's up, man? Yeah, you understand the never forget, right? Also, when we announcing the patch, DJ did a patch for us, bro, and it's pretty cool. I'm gonna get them bought first because patches take so long to come in. So I'm gonna get them bought, and I'm gonna get them here, and then I'll offer them to everybody else. How about a URG? I was corrected the other day. I thought it was a URG-I, but it's a URG-1 near clone upper. It's a good upper. They make a good, they do. Geisley had some QC control for a while there, and I think that they fixed it. Sean and Tyler will probably know better than me, but I think that they fixed it and their stuff is pretty freaking standard right now. You're late to the party. Yeah, my background. I'm just a boring old FUD. I have been told on the internet multiple times that I'm a FUD. You know what? I literally almost quit YouTube. I've had a YouTube channel for a couple years now, and I almost quit because I had my buddy who owns the War Club. He stopped by and he's like, "Hey, nobody gives a shit about you. You're 43 years old. You're not relevant." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not relevant? Like, I still teach this for a living. Like, this is what I do." And he's like, "You're just a FUD." And I'm like, "Fine." And I was like, he's like, "Nobody's going to listen to you anymore." And then I did these stupid shorts where I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to just go at it. And I did the "So You Don't Like Glock" video because most people don't understand. I can't show a Glock gun live, but they don't understand that like Glock is weird to hold, but when you have it and you use your thumbs and point your thumbs, Glock is great. And when you point your thumbs, what you're getting is an excellent wrist lock for recoil control. Like, yeah, it blows my mind. What do I have a shipping container full of? I do have a shipping container full of guns, though. They're not in a shipping container anymore. Can we get a woo? I don't know if I could do it, man. Like, I can't just trigger the woo. I just like, when I'm out there, I'm just like, woo! I don't know. I still have fun shooting. Like, if you can't go out there and have fun, like, yes, I mean, I'm 100%. I still shoot a lot. I still shoot like probably 20-ish thousand rounds a year right now of on purpose rounds, right? Like, this is on purpose. I'm trying to make this hit exactly where I want it to hit. But like, if you can't go out there and shoot some watermelons, and bro, you guys aren't going to believe this though. Pumpkin season is coming up, and my buddy owns a pumpkin field. So he's like, "You can have all the pumpkins you want." So I'm going to turn the watermelon slayer into a pumpkin slayer. I got a Connex box full of guns. I got a lot of guns. I don't know why I have so many guns. To be honest with you, I got a bunch of guns that I have not shot in years. Like, I was looking through them the other day and I was like, this is dumb. But like Clint Smith said, like, You don't actually own a gun. It's kind of like a pipe. You don't actually own it. You're just like a steward of it. So yeah. Shoot by yourself. Hey, dude, that's good. As long as you guys are shooting, and when you're shooting, you're not trying to don't go out there and do the regular stuff guys do where they go out, the typical range guys like this, right? So is this my camera? Yeah. So typical range guy pulls up his gun and it looks like this. Bang, bang, bang. And he looks at his buddy and then he's like, bang, 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 bang. And he's like, looks when the gun goes dry and he's like, hey man, you want to shoot it? That's like, that doesn't work. Like, you're never going to get better with that. Like, you have to go out there on purpose and say, all right, I'm going to draw from the holster, make a perfect draw from the holster, make sure my hand goes on it, have perfect placement, and make sure my sights are aligned. I should have dry fired this 1,000 times. And so now I'm going to go up, boom, and, up and do dot drills. So dot drills are great. Get like a target with like 6 dots and then just boom, shoot a dot, put it back in your holster, draw it, boom, shoot a dot. That will change your life when it comes to shooting. You don't just go out and shoot stuff. Unless you're just playing like me, then do that the very last 20 rounds of what you have. Hey, bro, have a good night. Charge that phone. I have them because of 2A. Yeah, dude, I just, I'm a gun guy. I've always been a gun guy. And so, yeah. My shorts video voice, I don't know how to do it. Like, I just get out there when I'm doing the shorts and I just go crazy. Because I think like we have taken it to where we've literally liberalized gun safety and guns to where it's like we scare people so much of them that they're afraid of them when they didn't have to be. Like, I try to make an example of this. If this is a guy, my finger's a guy, you realize if my gun is pointed straight up in the air, it's safe. If my gun is pointed here and he's still here, it's safe. You do realize that if you're in an active shooter situation, you're in a mall or something, there's going to be people here and you're going to have to shoot in between them. Like, and they're going to be moving. Like, your gun is safe as long as it's not pointed at something you're not trying to destroy. And you can shoot watermelons and it's cool. What distance for your dot drills? I would start them at 3 yards. Start them at 3 yards. When you can hit them, when you can draw and hit them at 3 yards, move to 5, then to 7. Go to class and learn how to practice. Yeah. The practical rifleman, guys, he is a freaking incredible shooter. He is a lot better shooter than me. FMF. No, bro, this is SMF. SMF. Check out SMF on Instagram. Like, see the flags back there? SMF. I don't know what SMF means. It means whatever you want it to be. I was told once that you have to be a stupid motherfucker to take a gun and go into a house and get a guy with a gun trying to kill you. And you have to be a stupid motherfucker to be the guy in the house getting a guy to come in there and kill you. So yeah. My wife was afraid of guns. She never shot one before we were married. Now she owns a few and is one hell of a shot. That's awesome. Yeah, she needs to do the drills. Like, you cannot do enough drills. So I used to be, until I really started breaking it down, and I take my kids out now. We still try to shoot at least once a month, but I'm trying to do way more often. Like, for a while we were doing once a week. Volleyball got in. But I still make sure that they go out and they practice, threat, draw your pistol, step out of the way, get off the X, fire your gun to wherever it is I tell you to shoot. Assess, make sure there's nobody else out here trying to kill you, right? And then you can top off your gun. And then you can put your gun back in the holster when you know there's not a threat. Like, I make her do that. All of them do that every single time so that they're very, very proficient in what it is that they do. Because in the event that they ever have to get in a gunfight, their hobby's not guns like ours is. If they have to get in a gunfight, I want them to just go, whoop, boom, right? Like, I want it to be so natural that, like, you ever hear a guy talk about, I guess I'm probably not going to talk about some stuff here, but let's just do in general. The first time you ever hear somebody talk about when they had to use their gun in defense of their life or somebody else's, okay? City Prepper will probably be able to tell you good. When you throw that gun up for the first time, like I remember I was like, I don't even remember how my gun got out here. And I don't really remember seeing the sights. And I don't know how in the hell that guy's on the ground right now. And I'm still standing here. It just happened so fast. But it's a natural reaction to like, oh, this is a problem, right? That's what you need to breed into your wife and into your kids who aren't shooting like you and they don't take it as serious. They're not passionate about it. If you just keep teaching them and keep building that habit into them, every single time they go, it's the same 3 drills. When they need it, they'll be able to do it. Wife had a hard time finding the dot on the pistol sometimes. She's much better than she used to be. Yeah. So the dot on the pistol, 2 things you can tell her is 1, make sure her wife is perfect. What kind of gun is she shooting? Make sure the grip is perfect. The second thing that I've had the best luck at teaching people to find the dot with is instead of looking out and looking for the dot, drive to the back of the pistol and start looking at the back of the pistol. And when you find the back of the pistol, the dot is usually right there. That's how I've had the best luck for it. Only getting to go to the range 2 times a year, bro. I mean, I know you're a youngin', but you got to get there more. You can dry fire a lot, man. Like you can get an airsoft gun right now and be like, hey, mom, dad, airsoft. And you can practice so much with an airsoft. You know, when I was in Ukraine and we were training the Ukrainians, we gave them 40 hours of dry fire before they ever fired a real gun. And when they did, they were incredible. Like they were deadly to 200, I promise. I still remember the first time I had a gun pointed at my face. I was not carrying at that point. Won't ever happen again. Yeah, it just takes one time to scare you about enough that you carry one wherever you go. Yes, Sean, that is a bad habit. So Sean says, I have a bad habit of pulling the gun down after I shoot. I'm so used to transitioning that I formed a bad habit. Okay, so let me tell you this. I have asked a lot of my friends. And so my lifetime and all of my friends' lifetime, a shit ton of gunfighters, like hardened ass gunfighters, way, way, way more than any, like hardened gunfighters. Guys, how many times did you transition in 20 years of being a gunfighter? 0, none. So should you know how to transition? Yes, you should. Do you have to do it for competition? I totally get it. But the reality of you ever needing a pistol, like if you talk to a tier 1 guy, they don't say, this is my primary, this is my backup. They say, this is a tool and this is another tool. Like really, that is the answer that they'll give you. Like dog handlers use their pistol a lot. They shot a lot of people with their pistols. But dude, like first off, gunfights aren't like the range. You're not just like, boom, 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 do a quick reload. Boom, 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 boom. Like, that doesn't really happen, man. Like it doesn't happen. It's like boom, boom, boom. Oh shit, we're getting shot at. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, where are they at? Oh, there they are. Boom, boom, boom. Right. And oh, okay. All right, move over here. Let's everybody move to cover. Let's try to flank them. It's just not like my gun is getting so hot I can't touch it. Like, I mean, I realize that's probably happened maybe a time or 2, but overall it hasn't. DJ, do you know of any times that that's happened, bro? Did your gun get so hot you couldn't touch it? Like, I only in training. So, yeah, like it's like stuff like that, transitioning stuff like that. I just don't, you know, I don't practice that stuff. Controversial question. What's y'all's boot brand? Merrill's. And so I still wear Solomon's, but I've switched recently to Crispies. I just can't get them freaking things broke in, man. They hurt my feet. But Solomon, what is it? Quest 4D is a good boot. The only problem with them is like when I used to get them a long time ago, those Solomons would last forever. Like, and now they last like 3 or 4 months. Yeah, you pull the gun back instead of, yeah. That's just Sean is a big competition shooter, so he has to transition a lot. That's cool, bro. Break that habit. Oh yeah, now the belt feds, bro, they get freaking hot, right? But yeah, dude, you're In actual combat, your guns just don't get that hot. I've not talked to anybody that said my gun was so hot that I couldn't shoot it or I didn't want to shoot it. It is 100% that if you're in a class and you're training, that the gun might get hot, or that you're going to practice your transitions. That's where we were really talking, but you're not really going to use them. The only guy I've met one guy that used his pistol. And then everybody else I know that used a pistol in combat was a dog handler. And they were using a Glock 22. I would rather move to cover and reload the rifle. Yeah. Your rifle is like, you don't want a pistol in a gunfight. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. You don't want it. But yeah, try to get to cover as much as you can. When will the HK 433 finally be able to? I don't know. What is the 433? Is it their new? Is it like a 416 clone or what? I know they got the 417 clone. The Marines just got the new H&K 308s. Dude, I like those. Like they are a freaking hammer. Oh, they're not bringing the 433 to the commercial market. Dude, I have tried like crazy. Like I have tried to get a HK 416. So I am an FFL. Type 7, and I have an SOT, and I have tried really hard to get H&K to work with me so I can have demo rifles, because there are a lot of police departments that I'd sell to that would like an HK 416 because, the gold gun is like the mystery gun. And they're cool. Like, but they're going away from them now. Like they've been phased out because HK doesn't want to work with people. Freaking HK, they're not winning the submissions, and they're making it to where the armorer can't work on the gun. Like you got to send it back to Germany. Nobody wants to do that. And something that you don't know, which is kind of cool. I spent some time over there in Germany last year. HK as a company is like ADS or Quantico Tactical. They're like a prime vendor. And so they sell boots and uniforms and ammo and everything. They're forced to be a gun company. They're super anti-gun, but they're forced to do it. So that's the only reason why HK guns exist. And yeah, I mean, some of them are incredible guns. I don't like some of them. Like I don't like the hide over bore. You guys understand what hide over bore is? Some of you youngsters out there, hide over bore, which is why Glock is such a popular gun, is how high, like, it's like, how do I best articulate this? When you shoot a rifle and you're like, okay, I'm going to go into, have a 50-meter zero and I got to aim at the top of their head. That's your height over your bore. The same thing exists, just smaller with a pistol. Well, the smaller height over bore you have, the faster you can recover and shoot. And so that's why a lot of people went away from the SIG, the metal SIGs. And that's why a lot of people went away from the USPs when training really started to become mainstream, that I saw, like from the 2010, 2011, 2012 Magpul days. Those guys started really bringing that up. We really started breaking that stuff down, and it was a thing, right? Like, hey, height over bore makes it to where you cannot shoot this gun as fast. And so what is that new one? The Model B, that thing right there can get it because the height over bore is super small. Senior engineer on the HK 416. He then went to SIG. He's now at Caracol. I've never heard of them. That's cool, bro. Sean is like a master of understanding the history of guns, dude. I've gotten so much information from him. It's incredible. That's cool. I thought Vickers was a part of that 416 program. Was he not? I only have a USP because of Call of Duty. That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. It's less flipping, more pushing with low height over bore. Yeah. That's why I love EOTech with a bottom hash mark. So I don't like EOTechs, but the reason I don't like EOTechs is because I've been told it's because I have this stigmatism. So when I look through an EOTech, instead of seeing, if I have a magnifier, I see a perfect deal and it's great. But if I don't, I see it's like a blur of dots. I can still see the whole thing in the dot, but it's like a blur of dots. And then I really can't see much past about 50 meters through the screen. It's weird. So I am an aim point guy, but it's based off of my eyes and off battery life. But now I just have it set up where, I just set the dot on top of their head and shoot, right? You have that eye problem too? Yeah. One of the things that's really cool, try this out. If you flip up your back sight and you look through it's like the aperture on a camera, and you'll actually be able to see that EOTech reticle a lot better. It's pretty cool. It's not practical. It is cool though. Vickers said he was just a liaison. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I watched a podcast where he went in and he was like, "Hey, I like this idea." And the 416, I guess he helped push it through. I don't know. I think it's a good gun. All of the guys I know that used them love them. The guys that I know that still use them still love them. They're having problems with some of them now, though. Like the newest ones that are coming out really aren't that great. I will tell you this though, they're not like my buddy built a clone and sold it for 17 grand. They're not worth 17 grand. I promise you that. Oh, I didn't know it was for the 1911. That's cool. I mean, they were old school 1911 guys. I don't know. Yeah, Brownells has a 416 kit that's never in stock. And if you ever get a chance to look at the cool guys guns, they don't use that regular 416 rail. They switch to Geisley, and now that I've seen, they switch to Lancer. And then they switch the trigger to a Geisley trigger. The ones that I've seen switch the stock to I think it's what did I see? A Magpul stock, and then a Bravo company grip. That's like some of the stuff that I've been able to lay eyes on, but it's not like they highly modify them from what you are. But that's what's weird about the clone guys. Like I did some clone guns. I'm having a lot of fun with those clone guns because like I do own a lot of weapons. I own a lot of them. And I was looking through the other day and I'm like, dude, like I got this rack of these AR-15s that nobody, like when you come, like if I invited you over, you guys came, hang out with me for a day, you'd be like, holy shit, this is really cool. And then the next time you come, it wouldn't be that cool anymore because you already saw them. But what is cool is clones with all the correct optics, correct lasers, because 20 years from now, people are still going to be like, dude, that's what you guys used in the global war on terror. Yes. This is what you guys used in, Somalia. Yes. This is what you guys used in World War I. Yes. Those guns to me tell a story and they've got a lot of history behind them. So I like them. Right. So that's why I'm doing that, because the GWAT era guns right now, like the stuff is getting way harder to find and way more expensive. But I'm also more of this was part of the SOP mod kit. And this is what guys were doing. So there was no really one way. So as long as you're in the area with the SOP mod kit and you get the same capability, then, you don't have to go crazy and spend the money that these guys are asking for. I do not own a PSA dagger. I got a really cool story though. So DPMS and PSA is the same thing. And they're coming out with that DPMS gun, which is really cool. Which is a PSA dagger, but just branded different. Trinchcon. Yeah, I like the Trinchcon SRO. I like anything Trinchcon, man. They make good stuff. I have broke a Trinchcon. I broke their the 1-to-8 VCOG. And I don't know how I did, but like I left it, like we were out. What were we doing? I can't remember what we were doing, but we were in the mountains. And after 3 days, I woke up, there was a bunch of water inside the scope. One of the things that I learned is one of my really good friends works at Trinchcon. And he always said, like, when you send one back and they fix it and you get it back, never, ever, ever sell that scope because it is perfect. So I sent it back. It took them about 3 weeks, and that scope is just freaking dead nuts. You need to get the Insight WMX 200. Dude, I cannot find them. I found one on Tax Swap. The dude wants $1,400. And then I saw somebody else post under there that that light that he has is not the correct light. Like it doesn't have the correct switch on it or the front on it. And what was crazy is I was Not long ago, I was inside a place that is a super cool place that you would go crazy over. And they had all those WMX lights up there, like all of them. And they're like, we hate these lights. We don't use them. We haven't used them for years. And I'm like, is there any way I could just, and they're like, no, they're all on the books. We can't take them. I'm like, son of a biscuit eater. You know how much freaking like people would die for these, but they don't use them anymore. But I do realize it's a clone thing. You've seen how I treat my guns. Yeah, Steve, look, man, guns are tools. Like, if you can't beat your gun to death, then you don't want it. Now, one of the things, that I don't beat on my 1911 or my Browning High Power made by Ted Yost. You know, those are $10,000 guns. They're super expensive. $12,000 1911. I don't beat on those guns because those are art. Right, I've got a flintlock made by Wally Hart, 5th generation gunsmith that their family developed of the Lancaster long rifle. I don't beat on that gun, but a regular run of the mill Glock that I'm gonna put my life on, or a SIG, or dude, I'll pitch them guns around, I'll throw them around, I'll hammer a nail in with them. For a bet, I took a Schmidt & Bender scope and hammered a 16 penny nail in, and the freaking thing worked fine. Because if it doesn't, I don't want it. Don't make sure. Yeah, that's tough. The new MR, Sean, I called Trijicon and I was like, bro, like, why? Like, you guys need to be sending me a couple of those, and they are maybe sometime right after SHOT Show. There might be some coming out. We'll see. All right, guys, we've been at it for an hour and 11 minutes. Any final questions? Let's go for a couple more minutes. Any final things? Be your side piece, not your wife. There's already some that's been in my boot, dude. I have a couple of 38 snub noses, but I'm getting the Smith & Wesson 340 PD. So I was with Chris Costa at a class, and he showed me this technique where you can like put it inside your pocket and hold the gun, but leave your front finger out of your pocket on your non-dominant hand, and take that gun out and use it immediately, and then go to your actual bigger pistol. Whoa, that was incredible. When am I coming to Missouri? All right, so Tyler, I'm trying, bro. So I leave to go on my elk hunt. So I just tore my meniscus. So my 16-year-old daughter and I, for my birthday, I got lightsabers. And so we were fighting, and we were just like in the middle of it, like, psh, psh, Luke, I am your father, like going at it, right? Like, and so we were fighting good, man. It was fun. She's my fun kid, and we're like getting at it. And I jumped and I popped my meniscus, but I have to go 20 miles in on a horse. And this is like a high demand hunt. So I'm doing it no matter what. My brothers are going with me. Then I got to go to Iraq, and then Jordan, and then I'm coming back here, and then I'm going to try to go to Missouri. I promise. I got to meet your little girl and your boys, but I got to meet your little girl. You know, I'm a sucker for little girls. That's what happens when you're a girl daddy. Like, you're attracted to girls because you understand them. They're familiar with you. When little boys, you're like, I don't know what to do with you. Like, let's shake hands. I didn't get to play with boy toys. I had to play with girl toys because I'm surrounded by girls. Did the CIA kill Kennedy? I'm going to tell you, yes, they did. ACOG with an RMR. The ACOG with an RMR that is the one that has the higher eye relief is my go to war setup too. I only own 2. Dude, I own a Colt Python. I own 2 Colt Pythons. They were my dad's and my grandpa's. They were 70s models. I own both of them. My oldest kid says when I die, that's what she wants. ATF would like to know my location. ATF knows my location. They're 2 blocks from me. I work with the ATF like I have to because I'm an FFL. So they come over, they inspect our stuff. Like, we don't have a choice. DJ, we should line it up where we go there the same time. That's okay. I'll try. Okay? Can we talk about the GWAT started off lies, dude? We didn't know that at the time. I talked about that a little earlier. We didn't know that at the time. Like, We only know that now because of like 1,000 different freaking things. Let's do a live stream next week and we can absolutely talk about the GWAT and the lies or whatever. Yeah, I'm not as much of a fan of Bush as I was 20 years ago. Like when I look back now, I'm like, geez, man, like, wow, like, geez, were we the bad guy? Like, man, it's a hard question to ask. What are your thoughts on the Ukrainian war now, Derek? My thoughts on the Ukrainian war are, it's a shame that as Americans, we decided to make it a political thing where it's like, if you don't like the Ukrainian war, you're for Trump. And if you do like it, you're for Biden. And that just is not the America that I grew up in. I realize that is the new America. The America that I grew up in said, hey, bro, if you shed innocent blood, we're going to come fuck you up. And so I remember the little girls that I saw that were dead from shelling. And I remember walking through Bucha and Irpin and seeing that they shelled everybody and they just literally killed a town of people. Now I realize you can be the guy that's like, well, we told them to leave. They knew there was a war. I get it, but they were targeting civilians. Man, since when has Russia ever been the freaking good guy? What are my thoughts now, though? Here's my actual thoughts. With some of the stuff that I'm doing is I think that my thoughts, the Ukrainian fund that you have seen where it's been like $100 billion right now, what you've been told is it's going to the Ukrainians and the Ukrainians are taking that money and they're just giving it to all of their politicians and they're super corrupt. So I'm going to tell you this. Our politicians here are way more corrupt than theirs. Okay. Our politicians just do it in the form of, you want this contract? Well, then I need you to donate 10% of the value of that contract to my son's campaign or my buddy's campaign or my 501c3, in which when I retire from this position, all of that money is still going to be in there. But that's how those contracts go now. We need you to pay our lobbyist 20% of your contract. And the lobbyist, as soon as that politician retires, the lobbyist takes the money. Like, how in the fuck did Joe Biden start as somebody who had to ride the train and he's worth millions now and his kids are worth fucking millions of millions? Like, that's why. Okay, I digress. Let's go back to it. What we've done is we told all of the countries around it, because we're preparing for something bigger than you think. If you take yourself out of it and you take yourself out of Fox News and CNN and you realize that both of them are the lioness bastards that have ever crossed this earth, and you say, what is really going on? We are preparing for a bigger war. So what we did was we told all of the NATO countries and anybody that was friendly to NATO, give all of your Soviet era stuff over to the Ukrainians. And they did. And then we gave them for dollar stuff that we were going to get rid of or stuff that is going out. So some of the stuff like artillery that has been out of date, we're giving it to the Ukrainians. But howitzers and Abrams tanks and everything else, we give a little to the Ukrainians. We give a lot more to everybody else in NATO. And the reason why is because when we go into this next conflict, World War III, which is going to be really tough for us with this new generation, because they're like, they hide Gen Zs, like they want to be inside a closet. But I mean, it's the same thing for all of the world right now. But when we go to World War III, we're not going to say, hey, you are now reliant on 545 ammo or 152 artillery. Nope, you can use 105 and 155 artillery. Why? Because Americans produce it. NATO countries produce it. You can use 556 and 9mm. Why? Because they produce it. If you notice, the Ukrainians were running 545s a bunch, and now they're running SCARs and they're running ARs. Why? Because we are now making everybody non-reliant on NATO anymore. I mean, on Soviet resupply anymore. We're making them rely on American resupply and NATO resupply, so that when we tick off in World War III, we're like, we rearmed everybody, we retrained everybody, we restaffed everybody, we got everything set up, we've made some really big. So I still think we're a ways away from war, because we're making some really big changes. Like the Marines got rid of all of their artillery and the Marines got rid of their tanks, and the Marines became kind of like a bunch of Army Rangers and a massive like little special forces group. Like they got PVS 31s and they're getting tier 1 training, and like Marines will like eat cornflakes out of your skull still, I think. maybe the 20-year-olds won't, but hopefully the 35-year-olds in there that are teaching them are still teaching them to eat cornflakes out of skulls. But that's what we did. We rearmed NATO. That's what we did. Like this is not a politic thing. This is a military strategy thing, and our military leaders were genius. They were smart. That's what I think about Ukraine. The news is the millionaires being told by the billionaires what to say. That's true. All right, guys, listen, hour and 20 minutes in. I appreciate all of you for watching. That was my take. Hey, if you want to do more live streams, let me know. I was 50-50 on doing a live stream because I don't know. I don't know. But if you like them, if you want to hang out, let me know. I'd like to get DJ and the Practical Rifleman in here. I think you guys, if you guys are here, go subscribe to them. They need to have 1,000 subs to be able to be on a live stream. They're freaking some incredible dudes. Both of them are more talented than me. They know more than me. They're more articulate than me. So yeah, go in and talk to them. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Hey, start watching the long form content, not just the shorts. All right, Outlaw out.